the killing was just a means to an end. That was the least satisfactory part. I didn't enjoy doing that. That's why I tried to create living zombies with muriatic acid in the drill.
Hello. In this video, I will tell you about a serial killer who collects the organs of his victims, consumes them after storing them in the refrigerator, performs various experiments with his victims, and tries to turn them into zombies. Jeffrey Dahmer is known not only for his gruesome murders, but also for the perverted thoughts and passions that underlie them. Dahmer's behavior provides a glimpse into the darkest, most complex corners of human psychology. His mind was a place characterized by curiosity, sadism, sexual perversion, and a complete lack of empathy. But Dahmer's story involves more than individual psychopathology. It has also had a significant impact on society's ideas about crime, justice, and punishment. Dahmer's murders and subsequent trial have made us question our notions of what justice is, how it is achieved, and how a criminal's debt to society is repaid. Dahmer's story is not only about the life of a grisly serial killer, it is also a reflection of the dark side of human nature and the complexity of the concepts of crime and justice. This makes his story much more than just a crime story, and makes him one of the most frightening and complex serial killers of all time. Born in 1960 in Wisconsin, Jeffrey Dahmer led a low-profile and quiet life until perhaps 1991. However, at that time, he attracted the attention of the whole world with his gruesome acts. His arrest after 17 murders made Dahmer's name known to the whole world. Dahmer usually targeted young men, deceiving them and killing them in horrific ways. Most of Dahmer's victims were randomly selected from Milwaukee's gay bars and hotels. His gruesome actions revealed a horrifying truth about America's heartland and shocked the world. Dahmer's brutal murders and subsequent trial have made his name an icon of fear and have also raised serious questions about America's crime and justice system. Dahmer's story begins with bizarre behavior at a young age, perhaps foreshadowing his future actions. Dahmer's father, Lionel Dahmer, despite his son's strange behavior, was far from predicting that he would later become a serial killer. During Dahmer's childhood and adolescence, he developed a strange hobby of dissecting dead animals and collecting their bones. Lionel Dahmer, known as Jeffrey Dahmer's father, attributed this interesting hobby of his son to his interest in science and biology. However, Jeffrey's behavior foreshadowed something beyond the norm. This obsession with dead animals would later turn into acts of violence against humans. Dahmer's behavior at this early age was the first signs of sadistic behavior, typical of the developmental problems that many serial killers show in childhood. This strange and frightening hobby showed the first signs of the darkness inside Dahmer and set the stage for the horrific crimes he would commit in later years. The murders of Jeffrey Dahmer. Thanks to his height of 1.85 meters, Jeffrey Dahmer had no problem in his ability to influence and control his victims. He usually targeted young, weak, and vulnerable men. The people he killed were usually young men randomly selected from nightclubs or pubs. Jeffrey Dahmer's height, as well as his tall and athletic build, enhanced his ability to easily hunt and manipulate his victims. He was often described as a charismatic and charming person who put his victims at ease and made them vulnerable. Dahmer's preferred victims were usually socially distant and inconspicuous. This meant that their disappearance was easily overlooked or realized too late. In the aftermath of the murders, Dahmer's manipulation of his victims' bodies further emphasized his dark fantasies and perverted desires. Not only did he commit murder, but he also kept the bodies of his victims as a kind of memory. These gruesome rituals made Dahmer a prominent figure among serial killers. The autopsy of the people Jeffrey Dahmer killed was also very interesting. He pushed the limits of his sadism and brutality with a horrific curiosity about human anatomy and death. Police searched Dahmer's home and found horrific mementos of his victims, including human heads and body parts. These findings revealed what a dangerous and twisted serial killer Dahmer was. After his capture in 1991, Dahmer confessed to all his crimes and told his story in detail. These confessions and his story were used in many films and documentaries later in his life. Dahmer's confessions after his capture revealed the full extent and details of his horrific actions. Dahmer described in detail his murders and the gruesome procedures he carried out on his victims. The confessions horrified both the police and the public. Dahmer's story attracted media and public attention, and many films and documentaries were made about his life and actions. These productions brought Dahmer's story to a wider audience and established him as one of the most terrifying figures in the history of serial killers.